What are 1,000 soldiers, over 1,000 soldiers doing in Afaraukwu Abia State, in Nnamdi Kanu's residence? The soldiers of Nigeria have laid siege in Afaraukwu instead of protecting the lives and property of Nigerians and protecting the territorial integrity of Nigerians. The army controlled by Boko Haram are laying siege in Nnamdi Kanu's village in Afaraukwu. And the video you are watching now is, instead of the military to protect Nigerians against terrorists, the video you are watching now is an international news. International news about the seminarians that Boko Haram captured, abducted, and killed. Innocent people. Instead of military to go to hunt the Boko Haram that are perpetrating this heinous crime, they will not do that. They will send them to eastern part of Nigeria, to Biafra land, to lay siege in Nnamdi Kanu's residence. Isn't it a very laughing stock? Isn't it a very mockery of the highest order that Nigeria military have reduced themselves to this mockery of a nation? That the presidency will direct them to go and lay siege in Afaraukwu. Did anybody tell them that Biafra will be declared in Afaraukwu? Did anybody tell Nigeria military that Biafra Republic will be declared in Nnamdi Kanu's residence? What a pity. What a pity that people are being kidnapped on daily basis. People cannot travel from Abuja to Kaduna. Nigerians can no longer travel to Maiduguri because there is no security, because the Boko Haram and ISIS West Africa are in control of Northeast and Northwest. But today, over 1,000 soldiers are roaming about and laying siege in Afaraukwu in Abia State. And nobody is talking. Nobody is talking because Nigeria is a failed.
One of 4 seminarians kidnapped last month in Nigeria has been killed reportedly by his abductors. 18-year-old Michael Nnamdi was the youngest member of the group taken by gunmen from Good Shepherd Major Seminary in Kaduna State on January 8th. The 3 seminarians kidnapped along with him were released in the weeks following their capture. Nearly 270 seminarians live at Good Shepherd. Joining me now via Skype from Nairobi, Kenya, is Father Don Bosco Anyala. He is the editor-in-chief of ACI Africa. Father, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me, Tracy.
Father, can you talk about the loss felt in the community because of this tragedy?
Well, there is a deep sadness in the West African country of Nigeria following the sad news of the killing of this seminarian, Michael Nnamdi, that we got the news on Saturday, the 1st of February. And he was among 4 who had been abducted on the 8th of January. And 3 were released alive, and he, alongside the wife of a doctor, were killed.
Do we know who's responsible for Michael's murder?
Well, the abductors were camouflaged in military attire. They seem to be linked to Boko Haram, the jihadist movement that is causing a lot of trouble to West Africa. So Nigeria is just one of the countries, but actually the problem, the challenge is the entire of West Africa.
Can we talk about the other seminarians and an update on them since they've been released?
Well, the one who was released on the 18th, we are told he was in a bad state. Actually, he was abandoned along the highway. And when he was rescued by passers-by, he was taken to the ICU. And so he has been receiving treatment since then, the 18th of January. The other two seem to have been okay. They seem to have been okay. But before then, there was, we received reports about discussions with their respective families asking for ransom for their rescue. It is possible that Michael, who is an orphan, raised up by the grandmother, might not have had the ransom needed by the abductors. In fact, the latest I got from contacts in Nigeria indicate that the abductors were asking for 40 million naira, equivalent to about 110,000 US dollars, a large sum of money for any family.
Can you talk about the seminary? I'm sorry, Father. Can you talk about the seminary, where it's located and how dangerous it is there?
Well, it is located in a state called Kaduna in the northeast of Nigeria, and is prone to this kind of attacks. So the seminary was just one of the places, but even the police posts there, health facilities, it seems that nobody is really safe. And before this abduction of seminarians, they had been targeting also priests. So it's an area prone for abductors.
Yeah, I know security needs for Christians appear to be great in Nigeria. What's the government doing about that?
That is the elephant in the room. There are sources telling us that actually the government seems to be knowing about these kidnappings, and not much is being done. Last week, the president ordered airstrikes on these vast forests. But there are people who are saying that actually there are people within the government that are responsible for this, or they are funding it. A security officer disclosed to one person that the security officers would like to rescue the seminarians and those who have been abducted, but their hands are tied from above.
Father, thank you so much for your insight. We really appreciate it. Father Don Bosco Anyala, he is the editor-in-chief of ACI Africa. Thank you, Father.
Thanks for having me, Tracy.
And of course, they were aided by military men as usual. But the Nigeria government will claim that they dressed in military camouflage. They dressed in military camouflage. And that is what they used to deceive the world. But the world are watching, and the international community are watching. Everybody is wise. We know that the people perpetrating this are Nigeria military, serving Nigeria military personnel who have sworn an oath of allegiance to Boko Haram. But when they perpetrate this kind of heinous crime, they will come to claim that they used Nigeria military camouflage. It is a lie. We have seen it happening, and the president will come to say, oh, Muslims have suffered. Muslims have suffered the worst. Muslims are the worst victim of this Boko Haram attack. He thinks that he can deceive Nigerians. He thinks he can deceive the world, that we know the people suffering this Boko Haram are Christians in Nigeria. And the president came to say the victims are Muslims. The time is over. Your time, Nigeria, is over. Your time is over. You people don't know what is coming. Your time is over.